So, you want to read Black Widow. Great! Ever since she's been introduced in the MCU, she's picked up quite a few fans. And hey, I've been a fan of hers ever since Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2. But there are a few differences between her comic book counterpart and her adaptations. First off, she's very Russian. Kind of the reverse Captain America in a way.
The personification of what America could be versus the personification of the horrors of what Soviet Russia did to its people.
The mention of Soviet Russia may confuse you because of the sliding timescale of comics, where something that happened 20 years ago happened a very non-specific few years ago in their time. Well, here's the thing. Black Widow is essentially immortal.
She was born in the 1920s and eventually got her hands on the Infinity Formula, which is also the formula that kept Nick Fury Sr. going for decades after World War II.
So, like many immortals, Natasha is very alone. That whole family you saw in the MCU?
Our family was never real, so there's nothing to hold on to.
Red Guardian was actually Black Widow's ex-husband, who has died several times, not her father. Yelena Belova started out as a rival to Natasha, not her sister. Melina Vostokov is Iron Maiden, one of Black Widow's villains of the week, not her mother. Natasha doesn't have anyone. She's alone, afraid of letting people in. She's cold. She's a living weapon trying to become human. After the Red Room and the Russian government tried to create a monster that they controlled. That is something the MCU did get right, though. The Red Room had a huge impact on Natasha's life, and that she started out as an Iron Man character. But instead of a bodyguard, she was a Soviet spy villain, in a very different getup. She also got Hawkeye in his debut to fight Iron Man. But of course, with some of the things the MCU got right, there is something the MCU got very wrong. She's not a children's character!
There are very few Black Widow stories I would recommend to a child. Most of her stories are dark spy thrillers, but the MCU needed to not look like a sausage fest and get one female Avenger. It didn't work! And I guess it was an era where the MCU was still trying to be realistic, so they couldn't pick a magical powerhouse and they still had to pertain to the rights of characters that they had. So no Carol Danvers, no Wasp, and no mutants.
There are no new mutants, as Logan has put it.
Well, actually, funny you should mention that. Back in the 2010s, Marvel decided to shoot themselves in the foot because of Fox owned the rights to the X-Men in film, so they decided not to make any more mutants. Fun fact for y'all. But enough bullying Kevin Feige. Let's talk about comics, and I guess movies too. For each film Black Widow stars in, I'm going to recommend a comic that matches the vibes or inspired part of the movie. So if you liked those, you may like these. First off, Winter Soldier, the first MCU movie that actually lets Black Widow shine as a character. Now she is...
But what about Iron Man 2?
What about Iron Man 2?
What about Avengers?
What about Avengers? Iron Man 2 is a good movie. Featuring Black Widow. She's barely a character in it, but she is in it technically. You could say Hawkeye's also a character in Thor. But now, Ed Brubaker did make Black Widow a central character in his run, which does inspire this movie. But I'm not gonna give you the basic, oh, well, if you liked Winter Soldier, you should read the run that it's based on. No. I'm better than that.
You're better than reading a comic?
No. That's all Dan knows about comics.
Caught in 4K. Literally.
No. If you want a Steve Rogers Black Widow team-up, look no further than Captain America and Black Widow, aka Captain America number 636-2640.
Captain America and Natasha team up against an evil corporation that stretches across the multiverse, selling dangerous weapons from other dimensions across said multiverse. Natasha also has to deal with an alternate Natasha that leaned hard into the gun for hire instead of becoming a hero.
But if you want a Black Widow on the Run story, Black Widow and the Name of the Rose is an excellent Black Widow on the Run story. And I have it in this handy-dandy trade paperback of Black Widow Widowmaker.
Black Widow receives a mysterious rose, a sign of her past that no one but her should know. Then she's attacked, and a personal data drive that she keeps tabs on everyone with, due to her trust issues, is stolen. Stolen by cutting her open and taking it from her internal organs. So right after being patched up by surgeons without anesthesia, she's on the run.
The book is brutal, and it shows off Natasha being a badass with some gorgeous art. And I won't spoil what the rose means, but it is heartbreaking. On our next movie stop, we have Avengers Confidential, Black Widow, and Punisher. This is a lesser Marvel anime film where Black Widow and Punisher team up. It's a fun action movie, and actually the first Black Widow film that she gets. Unfortunately, there aren't many Punisher Black Widow team-ups in the comics, but the best is probably Punisher Black Widow spinning Doomsday's web, which I have in this little handy-dandy Black Widow the Coldest War Epic Collection.
In this graphic novel, Frank and Natasha are both after a psychotic serial killer scientist who wants to rebuild the thermonuclear bomb he made years ago. And of course, they must put their differences aside to team up and defeat the bad guy.
Now let's get into the big one. Black Widow 2019 from the MCU. The long-awaited film of Black Widow that we finally got after she died.
Thanks, Ike.
If you like the film showing off the backstory of Black Widow, then Black Widow Deadly Origin is for you, which I also have in Black Widow Widowmaker.
A mysterious enemy has sworn to kill everyone Black Widow cares about, which is a great excuse to go down memory lane.
It effectively wraps up Black Widow's history in a neat little package, so if you're looking for a starting point for comic Black Widow, this one is for you. If you're interested in Yelena Belova, then you should read her introduction in Marvel Knights Black Widow Itsy Bitsy Spider,
where she fights Natasha for the role of the one true Black Widow.
There's also a personal favorite Black Widow comic called Black Widow Homecoming, which I have in Black Widow Welcome to the Game. Please ignore the horrendous Greg Land cover. It's fucking awful. But the book is gorgeous.
Someone is killing former widows, so Black Widow's on a hunt for who and why. In this gorgeous book, we see Black Widow as the absolute badass she is. For example, taking down 2 creeps brutally before her coffee cup drops on the ground. Then, of course, there's the painful secrets of the Red Room that Natasha discovers.
If you like stories about Black Widow versus a rebuilt Red Room, then Mark Waid and Chris Samney's Black Widow run is for you.
A new villain, the Weeping Lion, blackmails Natasha to steal info or he'll reveal one of her most damning secrets. And ooh, it is quite the juicy secret. So she must find a way to flip the tables on Weeping Lion, clear her name with S.H.I.E.L.D., and fight against the Red Room.
It's quite a mess for her, but a great joy for us in another gorgeous book. So, with those movies out of the way, let's get into some comics that I just really like. If you want a story where Black Widow is just doing her job very well, then Nathan Edmondson and Phil Notto's Black Widow run, aka Black Widow Chaos, is excellent.
From the art to the storytelling, it's very good. It starts out with Black Widow on a few jobs as a gun for hire, but slowly, a strange, shadowy organization known only as Chaos reveals itself to be the villain in this series, and chooses Black Widow as its target. I won't spoil anything, but speaking as someone who relates to Black Widow quite a bit, this series can sting quite a lot.
Here's another great one, Black Widow Daredevil Abattoir, which I have collected here in the Black Widow Epic Collection, The Coldest War. And would you believe me when I say that this book is also gorgeous. I know I sound like a broken record, but Black Widow books tend to be a feast for the eyes.
In this horrifying tale, Black Widow and Daredevil investigate the recent murders of low-level telepaths, which leads them into a night of pure hell.
If you like Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth, then you might like this one, so give it a shot. Another dark and personal favorite story of mine is Black Widow No Restraints Play. So, Black Widow was recently resurrected as a clone after being killed. Okay, you might have a few questions.
So, Steve Rogers' super serum ran out, so he got old. But in a tangle with the Cosmic Cube, he got young again. But turns out this Steve Rogers wasn't our Steve. He was actually an alternate universe version of Captain America, created by the Red Skull, using the power of the Cosmic Cube. This Steve Rogers finally revealed his hand, took the sharp end of his new shield, and stabbed Black Widow in the neck with it, snapping her neck, killing her instantly. But don't worry, the real Steve came back and kicked this Hydra Cap's ass, and Black Widow came back as a clone a little after.
And you didn't need to know all that because it doesn't matter for the story.
Your headcanon for this could have totally been she somehow came back after her death in Endgame through one of the snaps, and you could read this story just totally fine.
All you need to know is she's back from the dead, she's trying to keep it a secret from the world, and she's got a lot of anger deep inside her from the experience.
Anyways, she's back and she needs to blow off some steam. So she returns to the crime-filled island of Madripoor to take her anger out on people who deserve it. And she finds people who really deserve it. There's this new dark web show on the island called No Restraints Play, where they kidnap kids and the highest donor during the live stream gets to decide what kind of torture should be inflicted on them.
It is an incredibly dark story where Black Widow is just killing the shit out of monstrous people who deserve it. Now, let's go down an opposite road with Black Widow and the Marvel Girls. One of the only Black Widow stories I could actually recommend to kids.
This is a fun team-up miniseries that takes place in several eras of Natasha's life. In the Red Room, she teams up with Enchantress. Then when she first joins the Avengers, she must lay low in Latveria with a powerless Wasp. After that, as a new agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., she must investigate Carol Danvers, aka Miss Marvel, and find one of Red Skull's old but still dangerous plots. And finally, she teams up with Storm and Mole Man to deal with a rogue faction of Mole Man's Moloids.
And hey, if you like team-ups, then Uncanny X-Men 268, aka Madripoor Knights, and its sequel, Wolverine Madripoor Knights, is for you.
In the original issue, Wolverine, some X-Women, and Black Widow go to Madripoor to deal with the Hand. But there's a deeper connection between Black Widow and Wolverine. It stretches back to the 1940s, where Captain America and Wolverine must save a young Black Widow from the Hand. And in the recent sequel miniseries, Captain America rejoins Black Widow and Wolverine in the present to finish off what the Hand started in the 40s once and for all.
Another good classic team-up story is, well, in Marvel Team-Up 82 to 85, which I do have in this handy-dandy Black Widow team-up, trade paperback.
Spider-Man finds Black Widow with amnesia. She believes she's a woman named Nancy Rushman, but Nancy and Spider-Man are getting attacked left and right by foes like Silver Samurai, Boomerang, and surprisingly enough, even S.H.I.E.L.D. Together, while dodging attacks left and right, they must figure out what the hell is happening and if there's something bigger at play.
If you want something with a similar premise, a little more modern, and a little more personal, then there's Black Widow, The Ties That Bind.
The first arc of this Black Widow series has Natasha hit with another amnesia spell. But she's not just wandering the streets confused and alone this time. No, she's rich, happily married, and has a kid. She is living a perfect life with no pain and no sorrow. But you know, this can't last forever. She slowly starts to realize that this new life is artificial, and who she truly is.
And there you have it, quite a few Black Widow stories that can start you off on your Black Widow reading journey. And there's still some that I haven't mentioned, but I hope you discover some yourself. Now get out of here and start reading.